And Jonas was looking at me, where should we get 150,000 euros? I said, don't worry, we'll get there. The point where we realized that we won't get a Series A, and we were 24 people in the team at that moment, and we had to let go 10 people at that time already and size down. And since that time, we were struggling to get a next funding round. And yeah, we were living or fighting die another day for, I think, maybe around 18 months, starting in June 2022 till now.
Were they all salary based? Was it all project based? Was it a combination? Was there some equity? How did that work?
Combination of everything, equity, visa deal, and like 16 full-time employees and then working students. And I think that was the biggest or the second biggest mistake to like scale up the team before really have read product market. I think that was also a big mistake. So we had a huge burn over 100K every month. So that was not really good or not smart.
Do us a quick favor, guys. Hit the follow, subscribe button. Share this with someone who would benefit from it. And help us grow, as the more we grow, the better the episodes will get. Thanks guys for helping us, and let's get into the episode. Welcome back to this episode of the SCULPTED podcast. Today, we are lucky enough to be joined by Andy. Now, Andy and I have had many good conversations. I look up to Andy. I love the things that he's doing. He's got an amazing app, and I'm really excited for this conversation today because there's so much to learn from him. He's not just a great guy, he's also a very smart guy. So it's going to be a really good episode, guys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get Andy to introduce himself to the listeners. So Andy, tell us about yourself.
Thank you very much for this kind intro, Nick. So first of all, I really want to give you back this kind of compliment. It was really amazing to get to know you a little bit better. And I was really impressed how you look at life and at your values and all the things you have already developed for yourself. So that's really amazing. And thinking about you being like 19 years old, right? Or not, 21?
Yes.
21. So that's 19. So that's mind-blowing for me. But looking at me, I'm 41 years old now. I'm the founder and CEO of B42, football trainings platform that we've developed in the last 5 years so far. 20 years I've been a criminal detective, and now I started a new episode in my life. That's it in a short time.
Now, you've got a very interesting story, Andy, and you went from going to a very secure job, in my understanding, in Germany. I would imagine that most of the detective units there have probably a good salary. I'd imagine that they're kept after well from the government in Germany. I'd say it's a pretty secure job because so many people in Germany. You get paid on time. You pay your taxes, and then your taxes are good. The taxes are good because it makes your town nice. You live in a good area. You've got good roads. In Australia, we have bad roads. But everything would have been very comfortable, I would imagine. Of course, there's life that comes in the way.
Yes.
But Andy, could you tell me what you did only a few years ago after you decided to start B42? What was that process like for you, going from criminal detective to app founder?
Yes, that's a big question. To be honest, it started in 2012 when I realized I'm getting older and I want to keep up with the pace of the young guys in the team. And I wanted to have additional training, and I didn't find anything that I could use on the internet. I started using Freeletics, a training app, a fitness app, and I really liked it, but it didn't really help me on the pitch. So I started doing a lot of research, started training for myself, get deep into nutrition, and I started reading books, Gary Vaynerchuk, stuff like that. So I get inspired by Simon Sinek, and I was thinking I would love to spend more time doing what I really love, though that's football. And I thought to myself, so I keep studying, I keep learning, and maybe I start a side hustle as an athletic coach for players and teams. That's what I did. And at some point I realized I want to go all in. I want to spend more time like developing myself and developing a startup, creating a brand. That's the best thing that happened in my life after getting married and becoming a dad. That's the best part of my life. But getting deep into the startup scene and learning and developing, that was really amazing. That's how it started.
Now, you, as I said, went from a secure job to a very unsecure job. You start off with maybe some money to start B42. Obviously, you have some capabilities to start the app yourself. As I'm going through right now, I understand the expenses of starting an app. It's like a house, you know? You have to hire people to design the house. You have to hire people to build the house. And guess what? You've got to clean that house. And it's not cheap. There's a lot of things that come with that. But when you started this... the one question I want to ask is when you started this endeavor, and you can expand on this after I ask the question, but did you ever think at a point, I think it's too much now, because I've realized there's so many things that I'm learning step by step, and I'm thinking, this is not what I signed up for. How many moments like that have you had?
A lot, and still having these moments. To be honest, or to give you a little bit background, I started it as a side hustle, and then I realized, so maybe if I don't want to get sued as a personal trainer, it's better to start a corporate and be safe on that side. And like if you found a GmbH in Germany, it's like you have you need 25,000 euros to start this corporate, and I didn't have the money. To be honest, I have a few $100,000 in debt because of my house, and I was paying it back from my secure police job. And the best part of the police job is the pension afterwards, so you're pretty safe and you get a decent amount of money. You don't get rich as a criminal detective, but you can live really good. And so I went to my bank and asked for money, and they told me there's no they can't give me more money because I'm already at the edge. So I thought to myself, so how can I get 25,000 euros to start this business? And I asked my best friend if he could lend me the money, and I promised him to pay him back, and that's what I did. And then I started the company in 2017, and I was always sure we will create something out of it. I wasn't sure if it's an app, but I always wanted to have an app. So we started selling PDF documents, and it was okay. It was not like really, we didn't make a lot of money, but every euro I reinvested in marketing and building the community and advertising, and I was pretty good in it. I didn't realize it in this particular moment, but I was good in marketing and how I sold stuff. So like Gary Vaynerchuk always always deliver value. I started content marketing. I didn't know I was doing content marketing, but we did a lot of blog articles, and I was always selling throughout the content. So I never had an ad like buy my shit, but I had an ad on, this is the best drill if you always have problems with your hamstring, for example. And inside the content blog, there was a link, if you need more help, this is our training plan, and then the link to the PDF plans, or later the app. So this was how I sold the product. I didn't knew that it's content marketing, but I thought it was the best way of delivering value and having a pitch for my product. And then I was looking for a guy who could develop an app, and I used a social platform looking out for a developer, and one guy reached out to me, 18-year-old Jonas Meyer, and he said, let me have a look at your website, maybe I can make it faster or anything like that. And I asked him, Jonas, can you develop an app? And he said, no chance. And so we went together to a company, and they make us an offer for 150,000 euros for the first app development, and they were developing in India. Yeah, you've been there. I've been there too, and we were standing outside, and Jonas was looking at me where should we get 150,000 euros? I said, don't worry, we will get there. And 6 or 8 weeks later, he sent me a first, I think it was a PDF or also already a web app. I think he had first draft of a web app, and he said, look at this is a way how our app could look like. And this is how it all started. So we've never had any experience in app developing or anything like that at the beginning. That really the start where it all began.
Okay, that's crazy. 150,000 euros. I think that the most I was quoted was 120,000 euros. It's expensive. It's very expensive. The question that I have is, you're talking about this. You started in 2012 with this idea. When did you actually stop being the criminal detective, and how long were you unemployed for?
I've never been unemployed. I started working as a athletic coach in 2016 as a side hustle, and
Okay.
you have to get the permission of the police that I can do this and make some money next to my job. And then I started selling PDFs in 2017, and in 2019 in June we launched the app, and I stopped working as a police officer in December 2020 and started as paid in January 2021. So this was like I was always paid as a police officer, but I worked for 40 hours, then I worked for 32, and in the last year for 16 hours. So I just reduced my time at the police step by step, and I calculated, managed my way out of the secure job into the next paid job as I secured some investment. So that was the moment that I could leave the job.
Okay, so 2021, you got the first investment for B42, which then you allowed yourself to get a salary from that investment, so you could go full-time for B42. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct, sorry?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, so that's a big thing. I think that a lot of investment funds, they look for someone to go full-time. Is that correct? In the company?
Yes. If you are not fully committed, they won't give you money. Yes, that's important for them.
So by 2021, this is your first investment. Is that correct?
I think yes. In February we signed it, and the first was 100,000 euros in October 2020, if I'm remembering correct, and then we secured the 350,000 in February or March, something like that.
Okay. Oh, all right. So the initial investment. So from 2019, you got B42 out, and then 1 year later, in December, you got the first 100,000, and then in 2021, you got enough investment for you then to get the full-time salary from B42.
Yes.
Okay. That's very impressive. Okay, so the question that I want to go into now is B42, 2019, police job finished in 2021. I'm going to ask a random question.
Yes.
Which is unrelated, but something came up in my mind. I actually know a policeman in Bavaria because he was my old goalkeeper coach at Bayreuth. Maybe you don't know, but have you ever been in Herzegovina, where Adidas headquarters is, with the police there? You have been there?
Yes, I've been. Also, I have been there, buying stuff for my club, but not. And I haven't been as a police officer in Herzegovina, but I know a lot of police guys in the soccer world. So maybe I know also your contact. Maybe. So what's the name of the guy?
Udo Guns?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. He's I think been in this police force for about 20 years. It was kind of crazy. He had to go from training directly to work, and then directly back, and he would turn up in his police gear to training. It was crazy. It was crazy. But thankfully in Germany they can drive very fast, unlike here in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. From Bayreuth to Herzogenaurach, it took maybe 40 minutes, but for me in Australia, this would take me an hour and a half. So
there's no speed limit. So good cars and
exactly.
No speed limit. Yes.
Actually, when I was in Germany, I was moving all of my belongings from Bayreuth to Erlangen, and I hadn't driven in Germany yet. I hired a car. It was such a nice car. It cost me 60 euros for the day, and I had never gone above 100 kilometers per hour. And this was my first time driving in 2 years. I hadn't driven. In Australia, I had just been able to learn how to drive by myself because I was 17 when I left. So I'm 18 at this time. Maybe 19, I think, actually. And I got the car, and I'm going on the Autobahn, and I'm on the wrong side of the road. And I'm like, I'm in a really good car. Do I go fast? And I'm like, I just got to go fast.
Hell yeah.
I think I got up to 100. I got 150. That was the highest I could go. But my auntie, I've been in the car with her doing 220 kilometers per hour. That's, for me, that was crazy. It was crazy.
And as a police officer, from time to time, you have to, do some speed runs. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was a little bit off topic, but a funny story, a good story as well.
Absolutely.
Let's get back onto the B42 side. So, you got the investment. You got in total 400,000 in 2 years. That's very impressive. In Australian dollars, 350. Okay, so that's still a lot of money. So, where did the first 100,000 go, if you're able to tell? And then additionally, the next. For me right now, I'm only giving equity. So I'm only able to get in a developer. We've just got a developer in today. I have a tech advisor.
Congratulations.
Who is thank you. My tech advisor, he's amazing. He's the director of technology at the A-League, which is the professional football league in Australia. And
great.
He's amazing. It's really, really good that I've been able to get him on board. And we're building my team, but only through equity. I can't afford to pay anyone. So when it comes to getting my app on the App Store, you may have been able to get it on quicker than me. But how long did it take you to develop the idea of B42 when you're selling the PDFs, you're thinking about it? When's that first moment? Maybe it's 2018, 2017, when you think, I'm going to make an app, and then you started to turn it into an app. How long was that period?
I think maybe 18 months. It took me 18 months. Starting the company also took me 18 months, like creating the PDFs and the first website and stuff like that. So if I would do this now, it would take me, and with the all new technologies, like maybe 2 weeks, but it took me 18 months.
Yeah.
And the question you asked, it took me also 18 months to realize the app and developing B42. Like the first brand I created was Soccer Fit You. It's like about soccer, fitness, and you, like the 3 pillars. And it was a horrible brand name. And I also, when I started the journey, I met a lot of great guys, and 5 of them like partnered up with me, and they also got equity from the corporate, and they were the first people who get paid for working inside our startup. So I was paid from my detective job, and they get paid from the investment. And I think the process, like creating B42 and the brand story behind it, took us also 3 months, to be honest. So we started thinking, what is the core of the brand? What should the brand be all about? And then we started thinking of the brand name, and that's how that was our thought process of creating the brand. And they were the Pointy and Xiaomi, Simon were the first people that get paid, and Jonas from out of the investment.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned 5 people. Is that correct? 5 people originally?
I started it together with my wife. She did all the designs and the product. And thank you thank you very much. And Pointy, Xiaomi, Simon, and Jonas. So 6 people working, starting as a side hustle. Everyone had a full-time job, and step by step. Jonas was the only one who was studying at the moment, and I think he was the first to get paid, and then step by step, one after another left the job, and I was the last leaving my job. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So you really took the last hit in terms of everyone's paid before you were.
Yes. My wife wasn't paid throughout the company. She had also a job for herself, but the other guys were paid before me. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So you've got the investment, you've got the app. How long did it take to develop the app in terms of the developer coding it? Was that a long time? Was that short? How long did that take?
I think it took Jonas like 10 months to develop it, and starting it in Android and iOS App Store.
Okay.
How I secured it was our first or second investor was Daniel Schobani, the CEO of Freeletics, and they have 60 million users worldwide, so they know how to build an app. And Daniel invested in us, and I asked him, do you know a guy, a great tech guy that could assist our really unexperienced app developer? And he guided the process from the beginning to like get the fundamentals right. I always like try to secure our missing know-how throughout outside expertise.
Interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. Wow. So your investors really helped you get more team members. That's good. That for me. That's the type of investor I would want to go for. I think. Right. They give you.
Yeah. It wasn't. They were advisors, like tech advisors. It's not additional team members, but like expertise that helped us building the product fundamentals straight away, right from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing when it comes to tech, that you like build a great fundament where you can build on
from rather than to restart.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had to restart once, to be honest, as well. We switched to React Native when we hired the second and third techie. So then we switched to React Native because Jonas wasn't happy with his previous tech stack. So we switched to React Native, what we're still using right now.
Wow. We are also using React Native. So we also, I've thankfully, I think really, I'm so lucky to have my advisor this early on, because he just believes in my vision, I think. And he's helping me make as little as mistakes as possible, because I've heard from a lot of people, you don't want to restart, you want to build up. And being smart about it is a very important thing. So interesting that you ended up going on to React Native. This is what we will be doing as well. Hopefully, I mean, Andy, in 3 years' time when we do another episode, or in 2 years' time, 1 year's time, hopefully I'll be able to say, look, this is where the SCULPTED app is, where we're helping people become better versions of themselves. But we'll see what happens, This is for in the future. I'm learning.
Will be amazing to see.
Yes. I'm very excited. So, React Native, you've got the investor of Freeletics who helped you with more of an advisory role with tech people. Okay, you're in the App Store. Let's say 2021, COVID hits. Okay, you kind of got investment at the beginning of COVID. This is actually exactly when I was moving back to Australia, by the way, because I was in Thüringen. I was in this very small town in Thüringen called SCULPTED. No one knows it. I don't know it, even though I lived there for 2 months.
There's I know SCULPTED. I contacted them.
Oh, because of the football school.
Yes.
That's where I was.
Okay.
So I was at this, SCULPTED Football Academy. I can't even remember what it was called, but that's where I was. And during this time, 2021, what's happening on the App Store? How many users are you at? Is it a very quick user? What happened?
So we had like 3,000 paying customers at that time, or maybe let's talk about 2,000 paying customers at that time, and then COVID hit in March 2021, right? And
yeah, correct.
So nobody knows what will happen, but we thought this is a great opportunity to provide value for all footballers and all teams, and also helping us like getting to know, or like using it as a marketing tool. And we thought, okay, maybe it's smart. No one is able to train right now. If we provide value, you can use the app for free, everyone can use our training programs for free. It helps the football players now in the time they can't meet and can't train, and afterwards we have maybe a few more customers that are happily using the app. That was the idea. So we promised, as long as COVID is a thing, you can use B42 for free, and it really increased our customer base, or also our app install base, from, I think Android wise, from 10,000 to 40,000 around, like app installs. So there was a big first jump, and the customers could use us for free. Everyone was happy, and everyone thought maybe it's just a few weeks, and then we can play on the field again. But that, as we know now, didn't happen in quite a few weeks, but in like, I think 15 months. I think then was the restart. Yeah. That was the COVID situation.
So COVID, during this time, I mean, imagine COVID didn't happen. I wonder where B42 would be now. Would it be better? Would it be worse? We don't know. What do you think would have happened?
I think it helped us in the first place and hit us hard as all the other industry sectors after quite a few months. So no footballer loves to train athleticism or fitness drills. We want to play football, and so at the beginning it helped us a little bit, but in the long term it was not really helpful for our customer base and our product. So I think it would have been the same without COVID, in looking back.
Yeah. Okay, so it basically gave you a quick spike in users, but then probably evened its way out a little bit over time.
Yes, and when we finally could get back on the pitch, nobody wanted to use a fitness app in the first place. So that everyone was happy to play on the pitch, but I think a few users realized, okay, that's really effective. When I increase my mobility, it helps me, like, also on the pitch. I think we gained a few more happy customers, but the app usage dropped rapidly.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So, what did you do about that? What does that mean for the CEO of an app where you've had quick success and then you go down quickly? What does that mean for you, and what do you do about that?
I think it hit us twice. So to be honest, in 2021, it was we secured another investment, and we wanted to make sure that we do a good work to size up a Series A for, I think it was June 2022, when we finally first time we planned the Series A. And so I grew the team, I made a lot of mistakes, and we wanted to scale the single player app throughout performance marketing, and we failed.
Wow.
Because of a lot of different mistakes I made, and I think we switched from like a content marketing case to a performance marketing case, and I hired a really great guy, but he was also inexperienced when it comes to performance marketing. He didn't really had the experience. He knew how to set up a performance marketing scenario, but he wasn't like really experienced in scaling up a business and handling a few €100,000. And that was I think the biggest mistake I made in all these years, like hiring people that were great people, but not the perfect fit for the actual need we had. So I should have hired more experienced people than myself in this position. That would really helped us. And I think I have made so many mistakes, but to get it right in the time frame. So B42 was about storytelling and about creating the vision of we create a digital home for football by connecting training and gaming. This means we created an app for single player and teams that could be used to create data that could be used in an online game like FIFA. And we started this together with teams. So the teams played at first a tournament on the pitch for U16 teams. They were training with the app. They had their digital twin and their player cards, and they start training on the pitch, a tournament on the pitch, and then a tournament on the console, on the PlayStation, and they're playing their own team, not with Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund, but with Schlotheim versus their nearest rival. And that was the vision we were also like using in the fundraising story. And that was the idea of like creating this amazing thing and connecting two worlds that Adidas and EA Sports already tried before. That was the idea. And why I'm telling you this is because the funding market also like broke down in 2022 and 2023. So when COVID started and afterward the Russian war, it crushed the market hard, and no serious A rounds were possible anymore. And this like was despite our maybe poor execution, there was no fundraising mark anymore. That's like in a short sum up.
Okay, so you ended up not getting to the Series A investment at all,
yes.
Or did you end up getting it?
No, we in June 2022. I really have to make sure that it's right, but yes, it was the point where we realized, okay, we won't get a Series A, and we were 24 people in the team at that moment, and we had to we had to let go 10 people at that time already and size down. And since that time, we were struggling to get a next funding round. And we were living or fighting to die another day for, I think, maybe around 18 months, starting in June 2022 till now.
Yeah.
But now we have
crazy
a new investment that will bring us in to March 2025. But we haven't been it isn't closed yet, so I have to be careful maybe. But we will get to the notar in April, so I hope it's secured in a few weeks.
Okay. Wow, Andy, there's so many crazy stories, and I haven't stopped writing my notes. I've got my iPad here, and I've got so many different things that come to mind. I have a question about a few things. Firstly, how did you hire people? I have a very specific way that I hire people, and I think that the way that I hire people is maybe different to how most people would hire people at this stage that I am in. And I do it only through LinkedIn, where I put a job offering out on LinkedIn, and my calendar the next day is booked the whole day, and then the next day the whole day. And I'm just going through so many people, and I find a diamond in the rough, and that's how I do it. How did you do it?
I think in pretty the same way. But in the first place, I think I always met people, and then we were having a first conversation one-on-one, and I tried to understand how are these guys thinking. Are they doing it for the money, or do they really care about what we are doing? And the founding team, I talked to them, and I think the first 10 people received a book from me to read it at home. And I am, John Strzelecki. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
The Big Five for Life. Do you know the book?
I've heard I've heard the book. Yes.
And I gave it to the first 10 people that started working in our team, and I told them, read the book and let's talk about the book and when you're finished. And then this gave them an impression how I wanted to think about the company and the culture that we were building. So that was my way to make sure that they know exactly what they sign up for.
Andy,
Big Five for Life. You should look it up. Why?
You're gonna laugh at this though, because wait a second.
Yes.
This is the exact same process I do when I get on someone, when I start working with them. When I get a podcast co-host, it's, have you read Relentless? It was a criteria on all of my job listings. Have you read Relentless? And someone who I was working with originally on the SCULPTED app, they hadn't read it, so they read it. That was my very similar process when it came to finding people.
That's really crazy.
Was giving them the book. That is crazy.
Great.
But also,
that's really great.
I'm not surprised, Andy, because I think that we think alike. So it's not surprising.
Yes. That's really great to hear. And I'm using LinkedIn a lot. So afterward, in the first place, I hired the people from the founding team one-on-one, and later we used my LinkedIn channel to like really write in a football like language. We're looking for a playmaker, and like when it comes to digital marketer, we described it in a football wording and created a creative for it that really fits. And we didn't really do the regular process. Yes, like you. So I think that's the power of a great social media account. That's really helping a lot, and especially in the football market, there are a lot of people that really are looking for opportunities to work for their passion or in the market of their passion. And that's why I think it's really easy to find good people when it comes to businesses that are in the football area.
Yeah, 100%. Now, you mentioned at June 2020, when you were hoping for the Series A and you realized that you couldn't get it. At this point, you had 24 team members.
2022. Team members. That's a lot of team members, yes.
How did that work? Were they all salary-based? Was it all project-based? Was it a combination? Was there some equity? How did that work?
A combination of everything. Equity, VSOP deals, and like 16 full-time employees, and then working students, and that was it. And I think that was the biggest, or the second biggest mistake, to like scale up the team before really have reached product market fit. I think that was also a big mistake. So we had a huge burn, over 100K every month, though that was not really good or not smart.
Okay, interesting. So 100K a month paying employee fees. That's a lot.
No, burn. That's burn. Just not only that's that burn. We burned every. Yes.
Wow. All right. So you've got the subscription model with the paid players, and at this point, in June 2022, are you able to tell me how many paying members you had on B42?
I'm able. I think the numbers dropped, and we started to, because the first time we started our B2B case. So this was like, at first we were a B2C app, direct to consumer, a single player training app, and then we've launched the club version of our app. So you can use it as a club, as a team with the coaches, and this was like the second revenue stream. So we haven't had the focus on the single player subscriptions, but on the clubs that signed up for using B42. Yes, that was the moment where we started our second revenue stream.
Okay, amazing. Now,
so I think we had like 2,000 paying customers, single player based.
Okay. Oh, okay, interesting. So you kept a pretty consistent number then since COVID with the amount of paid players.
Yes.
All right, around 2,000. Okay, so that's very interesting. Now, when it came to getting the investors, I've connected with your COO recently on LinkedIn because I'm trying to learn more and more about this. When did you find your COO, and was he the person who took charge of getting the investment?
No. So first of all, minor mistake I made was when it comes to job titles. So I think our CMO, like our marketing manager, really asked me the question. I think it was the right question. He asked me, should I really be a CMO or your CMO? And I was thinking, he's a marketing guy, so he's the CMO. So I wasn't even smart enough to like realize you could also like name him a marketing manager or whatever. So I was a CEO, Stefan was the COO, Ben was as a marketer the CMO. So, but the job titles are like, it's bananas. It doesn't. It's not really important. Not in these phases. I think still we don't have to really use these job titles. So that's not important.
Everyone wears many hats.
Yes, of course. And like, if it's a CMO or the performance marketer or whatever, so it doesn't matter in the first place. To be honest, the first person that really joined the team that like is capable of really filling out a COO or even a CEO position was Ben Thompson. He is like he really scaled our skill set because he was the first really experienced analytical guy, the former Boston Consulting Group consultant. So that's like consulting group consultant. So that's like,
Okay, amazing. So how did you get in contact with Ben?
Again, I'm always honest and openly speaking when it comes to problems. And I was on holiday and I met a guy, and he was in the same holiday place, and we talked about our product. He was working for AutoScout 24, and I told him about my startup and the current problems, and that I really am looking for a guy with experience and sport background and stuff like that. And after two weeks after the holiday, he reached out to me and said, I have a friend that is looking for a new opportunity. Maybe you can talk to him because it could be a perfect fit. And he described Ben, and I thought that is too good to be true. And we met each other, and he thought it through for 2 or 3 months, and then he joined forces and joined the team.
That's crazy.
Lucky one.
It's very lucky. Wow. Okay. Wow. What are the chances? That's amazing.
And I think that's the really the one of the most important things that you could do as a founder is to hire people that are smarter and better than you, and that's the most important job as a founder. And I, again, out of the blue, I maybe found someone who will maybe also be the next CEO of B42, because I think we need a guy smarter than me. And again, the luck played a big role, but I'm pretty sure we can maybe team up with a second Ben. Quality.
Amazing. So, Andy, what you mentioned there was really important, is hiring people who are better than you. There is someone who I think he's the first billionaire under the age of 30, and his name is Ben Francis, who is the founder of Gymshark.
Yes.
He often speaks about how he had to step away from the CEO position because he realized that he wasn't smart enough to be that guy. And
yes,
it's such a big, difficult thing to get over this. Is this something that you, when you first started about B42, did you always think that you were going to be the CEO, or did you have to come to terms with this decision?
I was always aware of the fact if I can't develop myself personally anymore, and if I it's like we always talked about it when it comes to football. So we try to make our steps through the leagues, and there will be a time when our players will realize that they are not good enough for the next step. And this is in our brand fundamentals, that we are aware of the fact that we have to step back if we are not good enough anymore, and that nothing is bigger than the club, like in Barcelona. Yes, that's in our a core fundamental of our brand.
It's very impressive, because I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't let that happen because they have their ego and they don't want to let that happen. And you've done that for the success of B42, I think.
Absolutely. That was something that we were always really transparent and talked about it a lot. And it also recently happened again. So it's like we want to push it to the limit and make sure that this brand succeeds, whatever it takes. And I think looking back at where we started, what we've learned, I think this mindset of being aware of the fact that you can be replaced at some time is really important, and helps you also like processing this step when it finally happens.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it sounds like you've made a lot of mistakes. It sounds like you've fixed a lot of those mistakes. But I'd love to know, and also, I love mistakes. I think everyone should be making mistakes. I think that you should fail fast. I think that you should make these mistakes so you know what's right and wrong. I often try and talk about on this podcast how I would rather do something wrong at 100% than do something wrong at 50%. Because when I do something wrong at 50%, well, I was still doing half of it right. So I don't know what's right or wrong. So if I'm going to do something wrong, I want to do it at 100%. Now, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned through working on B42? It doesn't have to be about the app. It could be about yourself even. But what was that like for you? What's the biggest lesson?
The biggest lesson I've learned throughout these years is it doesn't matter if you are a person, a couple, or a brand. Everything comes to, are you aware of who you are, what value you deliver for others? Do you have a clear goal, an ambition? And are you aware of your core principles, like the way you act and your values? And if you have this basic fundament as a person, as a couple, as a brand, you will have a great chance of living a fulfilled life. This is the best thing I've learned, I think.
Amazing, Andy. It's I think listening to that, you probably wouldn't expect that that's your biggest lesson. I wouldn't expect that to be your biggest lesson if I never knew anything about Andy. But because I know about Andy, I'm not surprised because I know you're a wise guy, and that makes a lot of sense to me. It's really cool to have these types of conversations because it's I think that a podcast allows us to have these amazing conversations, and then additionally people can hear it for themselves, and it's really, really cool to speak about these things. Now, talking about where you want B42 to be in the next few years, you've mentioned you want to finalize your last round of investment so that you can get to 2025.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in the next few years with B42? Where would you like to be?
Yes. So we prep ourselves now in the upcoming 10 to 12 months to secure a Series A investment. That's the big next step that has to happen in 2025. And we are starting this process right now. And hopefully we can secure a Series A investment in 2025 to scale up the team and to realize a market entry in the English-speaking world of football. We already have clients in North America, in Australia, in Canada, but we really, really want to, enter the market with a budget for performance marketing, brand awareness, stuff like that. So this is the next 12 to 18 month goal, and to use the World Cup 2026 in the US to really create attention for our brand and to get a proof of concept that we can deliver value to football clubs and academies in the big North American market, in Australia as well. And then I would love to head to South America, because right now this is for us the fastest growing market, and we have the most organic installs in South America. They're using it in the free version, so the ball skills and stuff like that, they really like these ball specific drills, and I would love to be like the number one go-to training platform in the world in the next 4 to 5 years. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, you mentioned at the beginning as well, if you were to do it again, that it would take you a lot shorter of a time. If you were to do it again, what would you do?
I ask myself a lot, would I do it again if I know what is about to happen? And I think especially in the first period of time, I would have denied it. Now I really understand the idea of enjoying the process and creating value out of failure and learning and growing. So I'm at that point that I really can use it in a positive way for myself. This have been the most joyful and horrible years of my life when it comes to like my personal state. And I really went through hell, but this also like creates a good experience, a better version. Yes, that's really true. And what would I would do a lot of things different. I would love to do it again, but to be honest, I think I wouldn't do it again, and I wouldn't start a fast growing startup or company again. I will focus on a personal brand and focusing on the specific target and buy a really expensive watch. And I tell you why I will really buy an expensive watch. This is my personal goal for myself. I have no interest in, as you know, I'm wearing a Whoop tracker. This is the data I want to create. I'm not interested in cars. I am not a bling bling guy, and I'm not interested in watches. I want to buy a really expensive watch. I haven't figured out what watch, but in that moment when I buy the watch, this is the moment. This symbolizes the moment that I'm the owner of my own time. Yes, this is the target I want to to reach, to really make sure that I'm able, that I can decide where I'm spending my time today, on my kids, on the job that I really love, on the people that I care about. That's my personal goal, and that's why I wouldn't right now start again a company like B42 again.
Wow. Andy, that's an amazing analogy, and I love that because it represents not just a fancy watch, it symbolizes that you control your time. You've got that level of freedom that you can do whatever you want, whenever you want.
And because it is expensive, it's like a symbolizing I have financial freedom. And financial freedom doesn't have to be millions, but it stands for me, that I don't have to care how I'm making the next buck. That's financial freedom for me. And it could be like 100K a year kind of thing for when it comes to my personal.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, Andy, well, this has been a crazy conversation. I've enjoyed every second of it. I'm aware of the time. What we normally do with our guests is finish off with the last question, which is, what is 3 ways that you sculpt yourself every single day? Is it, you do exercise? Do you reflect? Do you journal? Do you meditate? What are 3 ways that you sculpt yourself every single day?
I think I tried a lot of things, and I often failed when it comes to consistency. But I think the way I love to start my day is getting up early before my kids wake up, having a proper mobility workout, 15 minutes of stretching, then having a cold shower, and starting in these 2 things are the optimum morning routine for me. And before I go to bed, it's a breathing routine that really makes it easier for me to fall asleep. I think these are the biggest 3 hacks I've used so far in my journey. But I think there are a lot of thankfulness. I think that's my next target.
Okay, amazing, Andy. That's I always love to hear what people do in their days. It shows a lot about the person. You said you struggled with consistency, but now you're able to do the cold shower and mobility in the morning, and then do the breathing in the evening. It sounds simple, but 99% of people who are probably listening to this, maybe because I've got good people listening, maybe it's like 50% of people. But I guarantee you, a lot of people who listen to this, if I was to challenge them and say, I just need you to do 3 things for me to make yourself better, and it's have a cold shower, do your mobility in the morning, and then do your breathing at the end of the day, they won't do it. Most people won't do this. So it sounds easy, but a lot of people won't do it.
Absolutely. And I think the only way that you can really create a habit is starting one at a time. And if you really make sure that this is like your daily habit and you don't even think about doing it, then you should start the next habit and building up routines step by step. I think we all want it really fast. We consume like great people having a look at their routines, and then you starting 15 things at once, and then you really fail fast. Yes.
Yeah. Andy, it has been an amazing conversation with you. I really hope that the listeners get something out of this, because there's so much knowledge in here and so many lessons. It's been an absolute privilege to have you on SCULPTED podcast. I think we're going to have to do it again very soon, because it was an amazing conversation, Andy. I really appreciate your time.
For me as well, Nick. Always happy to talk to you, and thank you for your nice words. You know what I'm thinking of you. I can only give this compliment back to you, and I would love to do another round with you and have a look at your next steps when it comes to your app.
Thank you, Andy.